Sun is shining, weather is sweet. It's sweet, but it's a bit cold. It's a bit chilly. Anyhow, I'm not here for the weather. It's not a weather report. Actually, it's to talk about porn addiction. A little bit of my porn addiction and porn addiction in general and what it does to the human body and how we can cultivate our sexual energy in a more healthy type of way. Because nowadays, it's known as, I learned this recently. I heard it so long online. I was like, bro, what does this mean? I thought it meant like being a vagabond, like stealing, robbing from people. But apparently nowadays it's called gooning, right? Masturbation. And I just posted a video about how we're not supposed to masturbate, we're supposed to master the bait. So, nowadays it's called gooning, and silly me, I thought this whole time it meant like robbing from people or being a goon, like being a criminal, like a underworld type of criminal. I genuinely had no idea. Regardless though, I'm someone and so many people I know, and I think this applies for everybody born after the year 98 or 97 or 95 even. Porn plays a very big and different role in our lives if we're born beyond those years. I was born 2002, than a lot of other people. So I kind of found it when I was in, I think, year 8 or something, and it was super addictive because there's no one there to tell you, hey, this isn't a good thing to do or anything like that. And the thing is, yeah, for a while you'll never be able to tell up until your late 20s, I believe, and I'm pretty much in my early to mid 20s. You'd never be able to tell, especially as a man, because we're not built as men to be releasing every so often, right? We're simply not. That's not what a human body is meant to be like. And I say that because when you're in your early teens, when you're young, you have a lot of energy. So when you have a lot of energy, it's easy for the body to take that energy that your body's producing and to then produce semen and sacred fluid. And when that's the case, we never really notice the toll and the effect that it has on us. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be in like your teenage years and your early 20s and your mid 20s and even your late 20s for some people, and then maybe early 30s. I don't know. I can't really say. But from what I've gathered from other people, it's like that. And until you get to your mid 30s and then 40s and so on, that's when you start to notice like, hey, it takes a few days to recuperate from ejaculation. Whereas when you're young, it just takes you a few hours and you're back on top. You know what I'm saying? You feel like the man again. But that's still not the case. So for a lot of the time, for a long time, what I was addicted to was simply releasing. And come to find out, not only myself, but with other people, and I think everyone, we're not really addicted to releasing. We're not really addicted to the porn itself or watching anything. We might, I mean, I don't know. But in my opinion, what it is that peace of mind. Because when people watch porn and they're masturbating and whatnot, and then they release, all of that is a type of meditation. They're not distracted by anything else. And watching porn and masturbating to it and releasing to it becomes the only type of thing in which, especially a man, has to meditate and to have time for himself. Because if you think about it, and if you yourself have been addicted to it, or if you do, or if you are, then the only time you're truly concentrated, right, is when you're watching that and you're in that moment. You're not really focused on the bills you have to pay or the problems in your life or the things you have to sort out. It's only that. So it creates this very this place of certainty where for, I don't know, 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, you're doing your thing and you're not thinking about anything else. But as soon as you release, you get what's called post-nut clarity. But my brothers and sisters, brothers, you don't really get that post-nut clarity if you just stop releasing all at once. If you do what's called semen retention, and you don't have to retain it for a massive amount of time. And when you do release it, you don't have to release it to the black phone screen, which is a black mirror, like I explained in the video. Watch my Instagram video for it. You don't have to release it in that way, okay? And you don't have to release it in general. I see a lot of people online, especially in the spiritual community now, saying that, yeah, it's good to clear your mind, it's good to do this and to do that, but you're not really clearing your mind. You're not taking away stress from anything. The same thing that gives you stress, that makes you want to masturbate and ejaculate, is the same thing that's still going to be there after you ejaculate. This is why people feel like shit. This is why men feel like shit when they ejaculate. It's called post-nut clarity, but it's the most unclear thing. I never understood what post-nut clarity is. At one point, I was like, yeah, it's clarity, but actually it's not clarity. You just, for once, have that peace of mind, and it's not really a peace of mind, it's just a rush of dopamine and serotonin and all these other chemicals in the brain. None of that is actually healthy. None of that is going to help you make better decisions. And people men like joke about it, like, oh, before I win the Euro Millions, or like the lotto, before I decide what to do with the money, I'm going to ejaculate and get post-nut clarity. That's the most unclear thing you could do. To remain a clear person is to remain within yourself. And why would you need someone halfway across the world recording something on a phone, drugged up, two people drugged up, going at it violently and in some crazy ways, which then feed your psyche things that you think you're into, and BDSM and all this other stuff. You don't need none of that. It's all an external facade. I'm not saying everything external, especially when it comes to sex, is a facade, because sex does involve another person, right? But when you're doing it by yourself, and when you're, they call it handsome, right? Twosome, threesome, foursome, handsome. So I don't like to use that word handsome because of that. It's funny, but no, it's true. It's definitely something that people need to think about. And for a lot of the time, you would go throughout life and you wouldn't even notice like the etymology behind these things. Wanking is wasting the yank. Masturbation, you have to master the bait. Jacking off is jack. Jack is the thief. It's the dark side of Mercury. Jack in the box. Jack of all trades. Black Jack. You know, and there's so much more with that Jack word. And I know it's mainly an American thing, but it's still very well known over here in the UK and everywhere to be honest, because American media is everywhere and American language is everywhere. So you see, for me myself, when I was young, I did it because it was a peace of mind. It was something where I could just like close off the whole world from. And for a while, it felt good, but then very quickly, I spent probably years regretting every single time I released, and you still go and do it. And for a lot of men, it's like, well, what do you do with this? So, like I said, when you're young, you guys have a lot of energy, right? And if you are a young guy, you know this for a fact. And if you've been a young guy, you know this for a fact. You have a lot of energy, and you can be up and at it again in a few hours, because, guys, it takes a few days for your body to recuperate from ejaculation and releasing in general. And some of the tantrics in India, when they release, they actually consume it, which is something I recommend for people. Even though a lot of men will feel like, a lot of straight men will feel weird about it, but if you think about it, it's the most like expensive thing that your body can produce is semen. So the tantrics kind of see it differently. They see it as a sacred fluid, because it is, and they wouldn't want to waste it. So if it's on a surface that is still recuperable and clean, they will ingest it again. And I read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I think the Tibetan Book of the Dead has a certain ritual in it where you would, I think, sniff it up your left nose or your right nostril, one of the nostrils. I read in the Book of the Dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, how we can use that in our Ida and Pingala, because it is white. And as we know, the moon rules all white liquids, right? And putting it up our Ida, maybe that would be beneficial. I would not recommend that, and that is not medical advice whatsoever. But nevertheless, it's something that I did see in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. You guys can read it for yourselves, and you'll find it in there. Where exactly it is, I do not know, because it's been almost a year since I've read that book again, and I haven't a single clue where it could be in that book. So when we release, right, when a man starts to masturbate, right, what happens is we have cold energy in the testicles, and that's cold jing. Jing is like chi, prana, vril, right, and it's called jing, sexual chi, ching chi, or jing, and it's cold. Now, when a man starts to masturbate, let's say this is what Mantak Chia said, right, word for word. When you get to a number 10, 10 is releasing. Don't get to a number 10. Get to a number 7, a number 6, or number 8, so that you're not too close from releasing. And then you've warmed it up, and now you can like breathe. And if you read the Male Sexual Rejuvenation book that Mantak Chia released, you can have certain ways in which you can still masturbate, but you're not releasing. You're doing something else once that cold energy turns to warm. Now, the reason why men feel so pulled towards releasing, I'm gonna walk, is simply because once that cold energy turns warm, that warm energy now wants to go somewhere, and you've done something with that energy. Now it's changed, and your body and your brain, and especially your nervous system. This is a big hijack of the nervous system, right? Hijack, jack again. There you go. I didn't even notice that one. It's just there. It just come to me there. Come to me. But anyways, Yeah, it hijacks your nervous system, and you constantly feel like now you need to release. This is why we get what's called blue balls, but it's actually not blue balls. It's the pain of that jing energy down there that has to get taken somewhere else. You see, I'm someone who when I started practicing this about 2 years ago, yeah, two years ago, in mid to late 2023, I was a bit confused at first. Maybe a few things didn't work, but lo and behold, it makes so much sense, like so much fucking sense. When you get blue balls, it's because the energy down there isn't supposed to be warm, okay? It's supposed to be cold. And men, this is true. If you go down in your testicles when you're flaccid, when you're not turned on, you'll feel the cold spot in your testicles. And if you don't, then try it a few times. And if you still don't, then might be a problem there. Seriously. We're supposed to have a cold patch in our testicles and in our ball sack and skin, whatever, down there, of energy, right? And I've always felt that. I've actually felt that before even reading Mantak Chia's book, and I was like, what is that? That's weird. Am I sick? I thought something was wrong with me. But no. And women are warm and men are cold, okay? And this is the difference between yin and yang. So when we have that cold energy down there, you can still work with that. You can still bring that up your spine. You can do the scrotum compression. You bring it up your spine and then down through the front. And this goes hand in hand with people who are practicing Kundalini and practicing so many other systems of simply just becoming oneself even more, becoming thyself even more, okay? So for a while, I used to think something was wrong with me because I felt that cold energy. But it went away. I never really paid much attention to it. But when I read that book, I was like, this makes sense. So when you have that cold energy, guys, that's something that you can use, right, to ascend within your body. And also when you have that warm energy, when you've heated up the sperm now becomes warm, okay? And that in turn, you can also use to bring and raise up within your body. Now, I'm not professional at this, even though I've practiced it for a while. You will definitely feel weird sensations. And to be honest, I felt some pain when I started bringing up this energy. And he said it in the book, Mantak Chia, that it might give you pain on your neck or your torso or your spine because it's like a channel of energy that's opening up and it's never been opened up before. Lo and behold, I actually felt some sort of pain around my highest thoracic vertebrae or my lowest cervical, right? So right, basically in the middle or the top or the bottom of my neck, somewhere around there. Forgot exactly where it was. And there's a few places like your T12, so your lowest thoracic, which is basically your T12 is your solar plexus chakra. Oh, there's some criminals about to get caught, as you guys can hear the police. But yeah, that's where you are usually bound to feel some sorts of pain because these channels have, I don't want to say intersections, but it's kind of like that, at least in my opinion. And they will 100% be visible for you, and you'll feel them once you start practicing this. And it's pretty much what Taoism is about is unifying, okay? What Kundalini is about and yoga is about. Yoga means the yoke, to unify, to union, right? It means to union. The you and the ion, right? So you are the ion. And we're moving this electricity up in the body and we're becoming smarter, stronger, we're living longer, we're growing thick, dense, long hair, the same way Yeshua HaMashiach did. Never cut his hair for a reason. And I tried to limit the amount of times that I cut my hair, but I haven't cut it in a long time, as you guys can probably tell. And right now I'm focusing on not cutting like my beard or anything because it's become a bit of a hassle. It's just a bit unnecessary. Not unnecessary, but I do want to follow some sort of rules and regulations with my hair, and doing the semen retention and everything is one thing, right? Someone can abstain from releasing and they'll be fine. But what happened to me, guys, was this. I started practicing semen retention without practicing the energy rituals and the breathing methods and everything with bringing it up. So lo and behold, I think it was about 2 years ago. Yeah, this was in 2023 when I had my first wet dream. As a kid, I never had a wet dream. As a teenager, I never had my wet dream. It was in my early 20s when I was practicing semen retention that I had my first wet dream, because I actually had so much energy stored up. I think I didn't release for about 3 to 5 months, okay? And and never did it cross my mind that I would have a wet dream. And a lot of people can call it succubus, which I'm open to. Not open to the succubus, but I'm open to the theory that it might have been a succubus that wandering around, seen a fellow with a lot of energy saved up, and was like, let me enter your dream state and let me take that from you. That's not possible now, because certain protection methods and sigils and so on are placed within my room and my sleeping space. So sorry for the succubuses that try and get that out of me, but they'll have to pay a hefty price if they want to even come close to me. Death. So there's ways to protect yourself from these spirits that want to come and take your energy if you are practicing semen retention, which is not related to what Mantak Chia teaches. This is more on the Western and Middle Eastern ancient magic with certain symbols and stuff that represent and have energy based upon who you are as a person, mainly to do with your rising sign in astrology, but it's a bit of a different story. So this is something that I experienced, right? I was doing semen retention, yada, 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 but I wasn't practicing the actual methods that Mantak Chia and other people would recommend. So what happened is I didn't get stressed, I didn't get angry. The only thing was that wet dream, and it was the first time I ever had a wet dream, and it was in like my early 20s, and I was like so shocked. I was like, what even is this? Like, what's going on? And when it did came out, I analyzed it, and it wasn't even semen. It was like a white, clear liquid. It wasn't even white. It was just see-through. It wasn't even semen. It was very weird. It was like obviously it was nocturnal emission, but it wasn't the same as like a normal ejaculatory release and type of fluid. Because I noticed when you release with partners, when you release by yourself, when you release nocturnal emission, they're all different. The body and the mind knows if it's releasing and trying to create a baby, trying to create a demon with the succubus, and if it's just by yourself, right? So yeah, that's something that I definitely recommend, is if you are going to practice semen retention, also practice the art of bringing that energy up. Simple breathing methods that the book will teach you. I'll probably put it up somewhere here, and you guys will be shocked, absolutely shocked, on how much this changes your life. Your mind becomes a lot more centered. Your brain doesn't feel so polluted with so many sexual thoughts. You can walk past women and feel free. Before, I used to walk past women and instantly like thoughts of sexual things would flood my mind. Now I'm like, what's up, sister? What's up, brother? And it's the same thing with men that feel jealousy from other men when they see a guy that's like a bit strong, or he has like a lot of muscle. They'll feel jealousy. It's the same exact thing, just in a different way. And we can deal with it in terms like biblically, like with the 7 deadly sins and whatnot. Definitely lust and jealousy and whatnot. It falls somewhere within there, right? Because these are ancient things we're still dealing with in modern times. So there's nothing's new, and nothing changes under the sun. But beyond the sun, I don't know. That's a different story for a different video. But under the sun, I wouldn't say there's nothing new, but hey, there's not a lot that's new under the sun. So definitely invest in books from Samuel Aoun War, Mantak Chia, and there's other people like myself online that will teach you and give you information about these things, that do masterclasses and whatnot. Simply be open to the idea that your body, and this is true, guys, this is another one, right? Men can orgasm without releasing anything, and these orgasms are known to be longer, more pleasurable, and this is a feminine orgasm. Have you guys noticed that when you make a woman orgasm for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, the energy changes in the whole room. Everything changes. You feel that orgasm yourself within your body, and it's extremely different. It's weird in a good way, but weird in like a I don't know what's going on type of way, because sexual science and the Kundalini sexual science, or the Taoist sexual science, is something that it needs to be studied. Not studied in a way where it has like a medical test or whatever, but studied in a way where you yourself and your partner, or if you don't have a partner, then stick to the solo thing, That needs to be studied in that way. You need to practice with your partner in a very serious way and not take the piss out of sex. Because you see, when a lot of people, when two people are in a relationship and they have sex, and every couple of days they're having sex and they're releasing, if the man is releasing, then that's setting a bad tone for the whole relationship. This is why relationships fall apart. Too much sex. You simply do not need that much sex, number one. Number two, if you are going to have that much sex, which I recommend, right? Do it as much as you want, but just do it in the right way. And to be honest, I don't know about that whole do it as much as you want. I take that back a little bit. A lot of you are just bored. You don't have anything between you as people to share, to experience. Maybe you guys could share a project in artwork development or something, and instead all that time is going into fornicating. Okay, so be mindful. And this kind of relates to my last video about, like, don't waste your time in relationships, and definitely keep yourself like busy with projects and family and friends and whatnot. That previous video that I made, because a lot of people fall into that. So when you're in relationships, it's very easy when you have a very good sexual connection, and I've had this, right? Or you have an amazing sexual connection with someone, your bodies like absolutely love each other and you're in sync, but that's a trap. That's a trap, because you start wasting your energy. You start losing everything that's important about you, your missions, your goals and everything. So definitely one to watch out for. And yeah, I think if you guys can take anything away from this video, is be open, number one, to the idea that there's more ways of orgasming as a man, not just releasing. Number two, read upon those authors that I mentioned, Samuel on War, Mantak Chia, and many others you can find just when it comes to Thurmond Dumont. Is that how you say it? I'm not too sure. Anyhow, sexual energy is a very, very powerful one, and it's based at the root of our spine, okay? And we can use it for amazing things to make ourselves more powerful beings, more caring, loving people. And I think that's the way forward. Like, don't shit on me for saying that's the way forward. You know, that's just the way it is. I'm just a messenger. I ain't Mercury, but I ain't Thoth, but I'm just a messenger. There's definitely better ways, and a lot of men will fool you. A lot of men, even in the spiritual space, will fool you and say, yeah, no, we're meant to release, we're meant to do this, we're meant to do that. Look at what happens in our brain. We're 21 times less likely, because some bullshit study said that we're less likely to get cancer if we release every couple, whatever they. Fuck off with that, mate. You have clearly never experienced what it's like to actually suck up the energy and feel it go up your spine and then down the front part of your sushumna, which is your main channel. It feels very weird, and honestly, for me, it's still an uncomfortable feeling. I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but it's still intense. It's still intense. It is still an intense feeling for me. And I think it will be intense for anyone, because this is a brand new channel. It's not a brand new channel, but it's kind of a new thing to most men. So yeah, if you guys take away anything, take away those things that I said. And I'm gonna go inside because it's like freezing. My hands are freezing now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the little words that I shared over here. And remember, no gooning.